today we're building a bed, and it's not just any bed, it's a twin bed with storage underneath. I have one of the toughest clients, and it's my daughter. She wants a bed with storage underneath so that way she can put her clothes away. If I can get her to put her clothes away, I'll make her a bed. She drew up a couple of different things that she said she'd like in a bed. I particularly like this one simply because it has a hot tub and a slide. So what I did was I dumbed it down a little bit and made it a little bit more normal. Just a very simple bed, beadboard, headboard, and footboard with drawers underneath so that way she can put everything away. Very simple to do, and the old bed frame, it just lacks. You know, it's really short off the ground and it's just wasted space. So we're gonna make a bed with tons of storage, and in the end, the hope is that she actually puts her clothes away. One can only hope. But the first thing we gotta do, start cutting some plywood. All right, truth be told, I'm not as strong as I look. So, what I do, every time I go to a home store and I order a full sheet of plywood, I actually ask them to slice it in half for me. A 4x8 sheet is tough for me to manage, especially with this small shop, which is, I'm assuming, most people are working out of their garage, wherever. So now, I can lift up this entire piece by myself without too much struggle. It makes for more accurate cutting when you're at the table saw, and it's just smarter. It also helps you when you fit it in the car. It doesn't cost anything at my home store, and pretty much every big box home store will cut that stuff for you. Always know, don't have the finished cuts be the ones that you get from them, because I always sort of oversize it. If I need 18 inches, I ask them to cut it at 19 inches and leave myself a little play because their blades are never good. That brings me to another thing. Your blade is the most important, in my opinion, of this project. You've got to have a good sharp blade. This is a brand new blade, good for cross-cutting plywood and ripping plywood. It's a combination blade, so it'll do both, and it'll do both well. That's a big deal. If you put a really horrible blade in here or you have a really dull blade, what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of tear out, and the quality of your project is going to go it's going to go down, and you don't want that. So get yourself a good blade, and I actually recommend right here, this is a zero clearance insert. Zero clearance meaning that if you see the blade right here, the only thing that's coming through this insert is the thickness of the blade or the kerf. The normal saws will come with this right here, and what that is just a big sloppy way for the blade to come through, so that way you can angle the blade at a 45 or whatever. I'm not angling the blade, I'm not doing any 45-degree cuts, so I don't want that. What happens with that is you'll get chip out or tear out when you're cutting plywood. This way, it's completely supported all the way around. Yet another really important thing is support for your plywood or your workpiece all the way throughout the cut. So that means behind the saw. You want the cut supported all the way on this side, because if not, I'd be pushing the plywood through, it'd be falling down, and I'd be having to push right here, which is very unsafe. So just having something back there, keep that there, that works well. The clamp table is also a really good thing, especially because it's on wheels. You can throw it behind your table saw, completely adjustable, and it gives for support. Unfortunately, Eric, the cameraman, is in the way, and he says he needs room to work. So that being said, now it's just time to do some cuts. And for cuts, remember, at the home store, we got a full sheet of plywood cut in half to make it easier for ourselves. But now you're going to have to actually cut that into 18-inch strips. You're going to do 2 of them for only 1/2 of the bed. If you want to tackle both sides of the bed at the same time and build both bases, which is something I strongly recommend, make sure you double everything that we're doing here. And because we're utilizing every inch of this plywood, the cutoff that you have here is going to be utilized as spacers later on down the line. Now we've got our 2 pieces. This is 1 sheet of plywood ripped at 18 inches. What this is going to become is this right here. This is the back, and then we're going to make 4 pieces exactly 18.5 inches wide. We're going to screw them together, add a face frame. You'll be happier than a pig in mud when we're all done. So right now we have to make our length. Now your length is going to be dictated simply on how big your mattress is. Now the mattress that I have, I'm assuming, I'm not a mattress expert, but they all seem to be the same of the twin mattresses that I have. They were 74 inches long. I went 74.5 inches, give it a little bit of wiggle room. That way the mattress stays where it is, or where it needs to be, and I have a little bit of wiggle room. Where's my pencil? For this, we have to take this piece of plywood. Let me move my fence, probably take it off completely here, and cut it on the table saw like that. Now that is not going to be very easy because if I hold it like this, it's going to go all sorts of places and it's going to kick back and I'm going to get hurt. If I use the fence, I could do that, but there's so much material on this side of the blade that it becomes very, very dangerous and you're asking for kickback as well. So to prevent that, what I do is I like to use my own little homemade sled. It's very, very easy. I get good cross cuts with it, and it's right here. It's nothing more than a piece of 1/2-inch plywood with some 1x material wrapped around it and some runners right here. The runners fit right in the track, and now I can cut with ease. So first thing is mark your plywood at 74.5 inches. I use a little drafting T-square that's only 2 foot long, so that way I know it's perfectly perpendicular. And then I just line up that mark that I made earlier right to the kerf on my crosscut sled, and then simply just run my material through the saw. We want to make 4 pieces at exactly 18.5 inches. I don't want to mark each one and then make each cut individually. So what I want to do is set a stop. Let's see if I can grab this sucker here. Oh, please, come on. There it is. All right. So to set that stop, we've got a nice firm bed. Now I could basically, now that the piece is a little bit smaller, I could put the fence here. I don't like to squeeze the material in the fence when I have the sled like this. It just seems so much easier to take your tape, hook it right in your kerf, and then make the mark at 18.5 inches. Take my stop block and a clamp, really crank down on it, and now take your tape again just to make sure. Run it right there. I'm exactly at 18.5 inches right to the kerf. Now, I can throw this away, put my pencil away, and simply take the material, slide it right up on there, start the blade. There's one. Take the material out, throw it aside, take the same material, just scoot it down, make sure it's flat against the back, make another cut. So when all is said and done, you'll have 4 pieces cut at 18.5 inches long by 18 inches wide. So for your next step, you're going to take the cut-off pieces from your large sheet of plywood and cut them into 4-inch strips. Then it's on to cutting them to length. You're going to cut 6 pieces at 22 inches exactly. I love the precision miter gauge because I can set the stop and just make repetitive cuts over and over again, and I know that each one is going to be identical to the next. Pocket holes are going to go in all of your spacers as well as all of your sides. It doesn't matter which jig you have, but it's very efficient to put all those pocket holes in now.